The following program is sponsored by the Building Wisconsin Television Network.
Welcome to Building Wisconsin. I'm Stuart Keith, and on today's show, well, we're visiting Plumbers and Steamfitters Local 400 and one of their partner contractors, Bassett Mechanical. So let's get started with Trevor Martin from Local 400. Well, Trevor, thanks for coming on Building Wisconsin today. And you know, as I was coming up to today's shoot, I glanced over when I was on Highway 41, saw your impressive building here, and thought to myself, you know, I bet a bunch of our viewers have driven past here and they might notice the building, but very few have ever come inside. So hopefully on today's show, that's what we wanted to do, is come inside, see how our plumbers and steamfitters get trained and how they work within our communities. So let's start by explaining who Local 400 is.
Well, first of all, Sue, thanks for coming up and spend some time with us today. Yeah, if you're driving on the highway, you see that big sign, Plumbers and Steamfitters Local 400. A little bit about Local 400. We have 2,200 members that work through Local 400. You know, we encompass an 18-county area in northeast Wisconsin, counties all the way from Marinette County all the way down to Sheboygan, over to Adams County.
That's
so
a huge
pretty
geographic
big geographic area. And within that area, obviously, there's a lot of nice-sized towns and cities, Sheboygan and Appleton, Fond du Lac, Oshkosh, Green Bay, and everywhere in between. So, you know, we have members living in a lot of those major communities through our jurisdiction.
Sure, and that's great to have all the manufacturing that goes on here in the Fox Valley, but not only for the members, but for the state as a whole. This is a very vital resource to our economy up here, isn't it?
It is. There's a lot of manufacturing that happens in northeast Wisconsin, a lot of industry. Obviously, you have the paper industry, which is kind of the cornerstone of our jurisdiction here. But beyond that, each one of these towns that we're talking about is built around some sort of manufacturing. So that manufacturing hub has been there for years, and our members have always been able to work in there and service those manufacturing hubs throughout our jurisdiction.
Yeah, and today they're all carrying on the legacy that was started many years ago.
Most definitely.
Okay, now you're called Plumbers and Steamfitters Local 400, but as I understand it, more than just those two trades get trained here at this facility.
Yeah, Plumbers and Steamfitters is the tip of the iceberg. That's our formal name, obviously, but we encompass many other facets of the piping industry. We have a plumbing apprenticeship, we have a steam fitting apprenticeship, and then we go further in northeast Wisconsin, we have a fabrication apprenticeship, and also we have an HVACR service apprenticeship. So those are the main apprenticeship programs that we offer here in Local 400. And the fabrication program is pretty unique to our area. Throughout the UA, there's very, very few other UA locals that actually have a fabrication apprenticeship program.
Yeah,
so
well, later in the show when we get to visit Bassett Mechanical, one of your signatory contractors, we'll learn more why that's so important. In the meantime, can we take a look at where the training takes place here?
Definitely, let's take a look.
And so back here, is this additional specialty welding they're getting trained on?
Yes, so on top of our 30 weld booths we just took a look at, back here is our fabrication welding area, we'll call it. We have a sub-arc machine, which a lot of our fabrication apprentices get to work on during the day and train on. So they come back here and hone their skills. And where we're standing now, we're mimicking a fit-up environment where they're working on a fit-up bench and they're assembling the spool pieces that the welders will eventually weld in the booths.
So you're really training on real-world settings, trying to mimic that as much as possible so they're well-versed when they get out in the field. They're not surprised by anything?
Exactly. We're honing the skills here. You know, obviously on the job, they're learning a lot on as well. But when they come to Local 400, they have the time to dedicate to really honing and fine-tuning the skills that they possess.
Sure, and it's not just welding. I mean, we saw some plumbing and some other areas.
Beyond just the welding aspect of this, we have a soldering and brazing lab where our plumbers and pipers will learn to weld and solder copper. We have our tube bending lab where obviously pipe comes in many different shapes and sizes, and so they'll be in the tube bending lab, bending tube, and then also in our plumbing lab where our plumbers will actually be able to see how a plumbing system works, what's actually behind the wall, how that all works, and how the code applies to the plumbing system. So there's a lot going on here at Local 400 right now.
Yeah, it's really exceeding my expectations coming in here, but I'm happy about it because, as I look at this, it's really a state-of-the-art learning center. And I bet that's why so many people that talk to me about it have a hard time believing that there are no tax dollars funding a facility like this.
That's right, Stu. Not one taxpayer dime in this building. This whole building, 61,000 square foot, and 90% of it for training is all funded by Local 400 membership. And how that works, it's from a long period of membership funding this building, slowly investing into the future of the next generation of Local 400. This building doesn't have to be here, right? It's their choice to do this. And so we have a very progressive and very forward-thinking membership, and I'm happy to have them investing in a building like this.
Yeah, and obviously a building like this, it doesn't happen overnight. And you're talking about your retirees. They invested in the future.
Oh.
The current members, they're investing in the future. And future members, hopefully they'll want to keep investing because, the skilled trades are only as good as the next generation coming up, right? And you want to keep passing on that knowledge and the mentoring, and part of that mentoring is investing in a building like this for continuing education.
100%, Stu. The wheel never stops turning. We're always reinvesting into the next generation of Local 400 members. And there's also the industry. Obviously, the industry is demanding highly skilled, highly trained individuals to come install their piping systems. So we have to keep up with that pace of the industry. If we were to operate like we operated 40 years ago and expect to be working in these high-tech, high-skilled industries like we are today, we wouldn't be doing it. So it's very important for us as a membership to keep pace with the industry and keep on the cutting edge of everything that's changing within the industry.
Okay, so current members are making a conscious decision to invest in this. What about an apprentice coming in? Is there a tuition, so to speak, for them? Do they have to pay to learn here?
No, absolutely not. Everything that an apprentice receives here is all funded by the membership. There's no tuition or any on-the-top expense here. Everything here is funded by the membership. Actually, it's kind of the inverse. They're not paying, they're actually earning. So they actually get paid to come here and learn their training. Their night school that they come to in the evening is 100% paid for. So there's really zero cost to that member when they come here and start their apprenticeship at Local 400.
Well, it doesn't get any better than that.
No.
Okay, we've seen a lot of hands-on so far. What about a classroom setting? Do you also offer that here?
Definitely, yeah. That's the other side of this coin here. So we can go for a walk and we'll take a look at a classroom and show you what that's all about. What we have here, this is our fitting tree, we call it. The instructor here up here in our hybrid classroom, they'll be able to model something on the screen or draw it or get it up on a computer screen, and then the apprentices can go and actually do the work right next to their learning environment.
I love this. Sure, we talk about traditional classroom, but this has got to be even more functional. Like you said, you want to demonstrate something, you teach it in a book, but then you walk over and can demonstrate it in the classroom. It's got to be very effective. This facility seems too good to be true to me. You got to have apprentices lining up. How hard is it to become an apprentice?
It's not an easy feat. We just don't hand these out to anybody. There's some work that person has to do in the front end. There's a couple avenues that person can do. They can become a youth apprentice while they're in high school. They're through high school and now they're in the workforce and they want to change a career. We have an online portal they can go through and submit their information there, and then we can get them in front of the contractor. But the important thing is they have to get themselves employed. They just don't walk in and get an apprenticeship. They have to go to work, get hired in an entry-level position or through a youth apprenticeship, and work their way into that apprenticeship.
And so to me, it sounds like there's a lot of partnerships in flux here. You're working with the contractors, you're working with the apprentices or future apprentices, and 400 is at the middle of all this, trying to keep the wheel turning. And can you touch on how important each of those partners are? And when I say partners, I'm talking about, yeah, your members, your signatory contractors, but also the project or business owners, the end user, and then the community as a whole.
Yeah, those partnerships are key, and they're crucial for everybody to survive. You know, at the center of that partnership is the apprenticeship program. Obviously, a contractor cannot have skilled workers without a training center to train them. And on the inverse, our members can't make a living without a contractor to go work for. So that partnership is crucial right there. And then you expand out to the industry partners, our customers and our end users, and then the community as well. Obviously, our members do a lot of community service throughout the year, helping out all the various communities that we live and work in, because obviously at the end of the day, our members live there. They want to give back and contribute to those communities as well.
Yeah. It's second to none in the whole theory on why this works. I mean, to me, it is awesome for our state. The whole state benefits when everybody's working together like this. Now, we're going to catch up on today's show with one of your industry partners, Bassett Mechanical. Tell me a little bit about them. Yeah,
I'm excited for you guys to go visit Bassett. So Bassett, just a little bit about them. You know, they're a third-generation contractor. They've been with us for a long time, and they employ over 120 of our members right now. You're going to talk to Kim Bassett, the president of the company. Like I said, third-generation Bassett. You're going to talk to Cody Blauert, the fab shop foreman over there. He's going to take you through the shop, show you what all our members are doing, and then also you're going to go on a job site and see when our up-and-coming apprentices, Maddy DeJardin, talk about Youth Apprenticeship program. She started as a Youth Apprentice. While she was in high school, she started on her pathway towards apprenticeship. It's a great story. She worked for 2 years in high school as a Youth Apprentice. The day she graduated, she stepped herself into an apprenticeship program. I mean, you talk about having a family-supporting career, right there is the perfect example of that.
And it's a great example of how the sky's the limit, and if you have a great work ethic, why not consider a career in the pipe trades? Well, it's been great learning more about your training center. I'll let you get back to work. Right now, I'm going to go catch up with Kim down at Bassett.
All right, Stu, thanks.
Well, Kim, I got to hand it to you. There's a lot of activity going on, and I am really impressed with this facility that's based right here in Wisconsin. And before we get into what everybody's building and manufacturing down here, tell us a little bit about the history and how Bassett Mechanical got started. Because when I looked on your website, did I see that correctly, that in 1936 it started by servicing refrigerators?
It is true. So back in 1936, my great uncle founded the company just as a one man in a truck. And we've grown over the last 84 years to what you see here today. And we do that with our 415 associates across 4 locations in the state of Wisconsin.
Sure, well, I also saw in there that your motto is creating customers for life, and you must be doing a great job, just based on how busy you are. But it's not just here in the United States. As I understand it, you're really worldwide.
We are worldwide. So we have the honor of serving our customers across the state of Wisconsin with our proactive preventative maintenance. Then we take our industrial refrigeration and HVAC offering across the United States. And the neat thing about that is it's a customized solution. So we can do the design and engineering, the fabrication, the installation, and the service side. And then on the metal fabrication side of the business, we actually ship these types of fabrications worldwide.
Wow, that is awesome. It seems like it's an efficient way of manufacturing products and installing products, and efficiencies are the keys these days.
Absolutely. One way we do that is through VDC, the Virtual Design and Construction. We have a crew that will go out and analyze a job site. If it's an existing facility that we have to retrofit or add on to, they will scan the engine room, for example. They will come back, put it into a software program that will show all of the interferences and the tight spaces. They will create drawings just based on the dimensions of that room, give it to the shop floor. The shop then will build to those exact specifications so that when it goes out into the field, there's great efficiency. And then on the metal fabrication, we do as much prefabrication as we can out here on our shop floor in a controlled environment where they have all of the tooling and the resources. They don't have to deal with the elements.
Sure, and I gotta believe it's important for the people in the shop to understand what the workers out in the field are experiencing, and conversely, the workers in the field understand how it's being built, right?
Absolutely, and we'll have some people that can even do both. They'll work in the shop and in the field. Sometimes they designate and they just do one or the other, but they do need to know, because what gets built here has to get installed, and so they do need to know what each other is doing.
Well, you know, earlier in today's show, I was with Trevor over at Local 400, and he was talking and telling me about the strong partnership you guys have had for years and ongoing today. How important is that partnership from the Bassett side of things?
It's really important, you know, and I feel very fortunate that we've got this great relationship with Local 400. Whether it's training the apprentices or the journeymen, whether it's labor negotiations, finding market opportunities and market share, to collaborating on community projects. It is really important. And you know, at the end of the day, it's about leadership, it's about collaboration, it's about respect. And the neat thing is we all have the same objective. We're trying to have a happy customer at the end, and so we're both aligned in how we approach that.
Well, obviously, safety comes into play, and especially with the training that goes on at Local 400. And I know that safety is a core value here, and really, to me, it appears that it's a condition of employment. Is that fair to say?
Yes, that is an absolute fair thing to say, because it's not only a core value, but safety is an integral part of everything we do every day. So we make sure that everybody has the tools, the resources, the training that they need to do their job effectively, to make sure that we're being proactive, because I want to see everybody at the end of the day go home the way they arrived in the morning.
Sure. Well, you know, when I look around here, I see opportunity. And I know you see opportunity, and that's a message you wanted to get out on today's shows. The opportunity that exists not only here at Bassett, but in the pipe trades in general. I mean, to us that have experienced it, the pipe trades is open to anyone who shows up, works hard, and really has a great attitude towards getting better.
Yes, you know, it's limitless on the opportunities that there are in this pipe trade field. People that like to work with their hands, like math, like to problem solve and make decisions, they can come in and find a career with the pipe trades. And the neat thing is you can work in the shop, whether you're building vessels or pipe skids. They can also go out into the field, work with our customers, travel the United States and do the installations. Or we have associates that have done either field or shop work, but then they come into the office and they could become estimators or project managers. So the opportunities really are endless.
Boy, and it sounds like it's anything but boring. Somebody might say in a manufacturing facility, monotonous, same thing over and over. It's not that, especially here at a custom shop.
Exactly. We custom manufacture 85-90% of what we do. And it creates an opportunity for our associates to have something different every day, whether it's working with the customer, building something in the shop, doing CAD or project management. It's all different.
Well, again, it's exciting, and when it's exciting work, everybody wants to come to work the next morning. So I'm going to get down, catch up with Cody. I want to see what the associates are building down there, and I'll let you get back to your job.
Thank you.
Wow, Cody, this is pretty impressive. Looks pretty complex to me. What are we looking at?
This is a cooling skid. There's ammonia that runs through some of the piping here to cool items down in plants and whatnot.
And this is pretty typical of what you guys manufacture here.
Correct.
And when I say manufacture, virtually every component you guys built here and then assembled it?
For the most part, there's some bought-in pieces of equipment for the compressors and the condenser on top, but the frame was fabricated here from scratch. Some of the vessels you see on here, we built in our pressure vessel shop, pipe, plate components, caps, pressure tested it, all the interconnect and piping. We assembled all that in prefab, mounted all the equipment, vessels, and attached the interconnect and piping.
How many of the associates working here would be involved in a project like this?
A handful. We would have a foreman laying it all out, breaking up our spools into components that we need, and then 2 to 4 guys probably on the assembly portion.
Sure. Well, you know, earlier Kim was talking about the complexity of some of the projects, but you do it in 3D first. Does that really help you guys?
Yeah, for sure. You get a 3D model, you get a visual of how it goes. You can see if there's any collisions or interference with any other equipment, not only for our piping and vessels, but if you have like other contractors with electrical and stuff like that.
Now, you keep using the term vessels. Are you talking about like this black apparatus right there?
Yep. Yeah, that'd be one of the vessels. itself that we built here in our pressure vessel shop. It's made out of pipe with pipe caps, so we installed the nozzles and piping in there.
That is so cool. So like the center section is just a big, looks like 24-inch pipe or something right
Correct.
there. And then you put the end caps on and stuff.
Yep. It all starts out as straight runs of pipe, whether it's structural pipe, caps, fittings, it gets cut into the desired lengths and assembled.
It's cool to see that right here in Wisconsin. We have professionals like yourselves building this. Now, when I look down here, I just marvel at how the welding is done, and it's so accurate, it's precision. Is that important? Are there any tests that need to be done on pieces of equipment like this?
Yeah, there's usually testing required. For when we pressure test everything upon completion to make sure there's no leaks before it leaves our shop to facility to get out in the field for installation. On top of that, every job's a little bit different, but there is NDE as far as surface inspections, PT, MT inspections, RT. They take x-rays of certain welds. There usually is some level of testing.
And so you either have the equipment or you have a third party come in to verify all the work here to make sure?
Correct.
So this is pretty typical what you have to look at every day and make sure it gets fabricated properly.
Yep.
How long have you been doing this?
17 years.
Wow, you like what you do?
Yeah, it's very rewarding. Obviously, you put something like this together, you start from scratch. When you get done, you can look back and say, man, we put that thing together.
Yeah.
That part's kind of cool.
Well, can we head on down over here, see what else they're building?
Yep, no problem. Over here, Stu, we got Blake doing some sanitary stainless steel welding on some thin wall, thin gauge piping. He's using an argon backing gas, TIG welding it, 2-pass fusion.
That looks pretty intense, and again, I marvel at how accurate the welding is here. It's like second to anything I've ever seen. It seems like you have to be pretty well versed to work in a facility like this.
Yeah, there's a good variety. Yesterday, Blake was welding on some pressure vessels on some thicker material. Today, he hopped over doing the stainless steel.
Yeah, and this is obviously, like you said, stainless steel, but the pressure vessels, those are carbon steel, right?
Generally, yes.
Yeah, and there's a number of different types of welding that goes on here, not just those two.
Right, so we got the MIG process between wire and flux, sub-arc, semi-automated process, and then TIG.
Again, with all these welds being tested, pressure tested, some of them x-rayed, you really have to know what you're doing, and that speaks volumes to not only experience, but the training you get at 400. How far along in someone's career path can they be expected to do something like this?
Everybody varies depending on their talents. Generally, it could be a couple years, but usually by the end of their apprenticeship, their 5-year program, everybody's expected to be able to handle a weld like this.
Really, so if a viewer out there is looking at a young adult and says, man, I want to get into that because it is an exciting career, by the time I'm done apprenticeship, I could be welding these things for the different customers that are out there. That is pretty cool. So whether it's you or Blake or any of the journey workers or apprentices here, I mean, to me it seems like a partnership. Do you feel it's a partnership you have with Local 400 when it comes to all the different resources they offer, helping you down the career path and all the training?
Yeah, not only the school and the training to help each of us succeed in our career as we graduate our apprenticeship, but it also ties into the health care and pension and our retirement to set everybody up to enjoy their later life.
Well, thanks for coming on, sharing some of the projects that you're working on.
Yeah, no problem. Appreciate it.
Well, Maddy, I appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule and coming on Building Wisconsin today. And let's get right into it. What are you doing here with Bassett?
Well, thanks for having me. I am a Steamfitter construction apprentice for Bassett right now. I mostly help install HVAC and ammonia systems. That's mostly what our company does.
So are you actually a steam fitter?
Yes, I'm a Steamfitter apprentice. Yep, I'm a second year.
Okay, and that's one of the reasons we wanted to have you on today's show, is because you got your career started with the Youth Apprenticeship program offered through Local 400. I mean, I got to ask you, what drew you to a career in the pipe trades?
Well, it all started by my parents are both work in the trades, and I took a welding class in high school, and I fell in love with it. So then I came to Local 400 to pretty much just see what they had to offer. I wasn't quite sure if it was what I wanted to do. I was only a sophomore in high school, so I still had some time to figure it out, you know. So I started working for Bassett the summer between my sophomore and junior year, just to see where I wanted to go, kind of. I started in the shop, and then I kind of checked out a couple different things, and then I fell in love with being a steamfitter. So,
sure. Yeah. It sounds like you're happy with your career choice so far?
Yeah, absolutely. I love it. There's a lot of different things. I bounce around from place to place, so I get to see different things, work with different people.
Nice thing about bouncing around, you get to experience all those other aspects of the trade. And to me, that brings up training, because training is so important. How does your training work with Local 400?
So our training with Local 400 works by, we have what's called day school, night school, and then we have on-the-job training. So on-the-job training is your every day, 40 hours a week, normal training. And then we have what is called day school. We go every other week for a full 8 hours a day. So mine's on Tuesdays, so I go every other Tuesdays for day school. So instead of going to work, you go to school that day. And then we also have what is called night school. So that runs in 10-week sessions. It's one night a week for 3 hours. So we go to work, and then at night, usually from 5:30 to 8:30, we have what's called night school.
Okay, so training is very important, and they
Yes.
work it in. That's one of the beauty of the organized trades, is
Right.
they work it into your daily schedule and routine, so
Right.
that you are getting the best of both worlds. A little bit of classroom, which is very important, and then it sounds like a lot of different experience out on the job site.
Right, so in the classroom we learn all the technical stuff, and then we get to come out here and like actually apply it, see what we're learning in school on the job site.
Sure, and then what about the mentoring that goes on? You know, organized trades are well known for the journey workers passing on their knowledge with the apprentices to help them along in their career. Have you experienced that?
Yeah, so obviously there's a lot we learn at school, and that's great, but then when you actually get out here, it's really nice to be able to talk to a journeyman and figure out what's going on in the book to what's going on out here. Actually be able to talk it through and be like, oh yeah, I saw that in the books, and now here it is. Now I actually get to see it, see how it works, and all that stuff.
Sounds like you're pretty happy with your career choice so far.
Yeah, it's pretty fun. I like being able to learn from other people and using my hands.
Sure. Well, I'd love to sit and talk all day. I'll let you get back to work. But first, can you share any advice you'd have for other young women that would be interested in pursuing the youth apprenticeship with Local 400?
Honestly, I would say just give it a shot. I mean, there's so much you can learn, and even if you don't like it, it's not the end of the world. But I think a lot of people really would like it if they gave it a shot.
Well, I can tell by your enthusiasm. You're going to make it far, and the sky's the limit. I'll let you get back to work. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you.
For more information on Building Wisconsin, follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and be sure to watch additional episodes on YouTube or at our website, buildingwisconsintv.com. The preceding program was sponsored by the Building Wisconsin Television Network.